Right, we are back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast, bringing you our fourth and final segment, which is going to be about some general news stories around the league that I did want to touch upon. Some stuff I did think was notable, and that happened over the weekend. There's a lot because it's been 3 days now. So, yeah, let's get straight into it. So, the first one here is going to be about Jared Jones and the Pittsburgh Pirates. Jared Jones was a top Pirates pitching prospect, and he has made the Pirates opening day roster. He is going to be their fifth starter. This is something I know a lot of Pirates fans are very excited about. I've seen them all over social media clamoring for this guy, really hoping he'll be the five starter. He performed really well in spring training. He's shown a lot of tools to be a guy for the Pirates in the future, to be a big part of that rotation and their young core, especially their pitching core. They have a lot of young hitters, I'd say, but not many outstanding young pitchers, guys who I think can really make a difference. So I think it's good for them to finally have one. You can see in Jared Jones, he has an electric fastball, can throw 100 consistently. And again, I'm excited for him to make the opening day roster. I'm always a fan of giving younger players opportunities, especially on teams who are, frankly, in the situation of the Pirates, where they're rebuilding very clearly. So I'm very glad Ben Cherington and the Pirates made the right decision to get this guy on the opening day roster, make him a big part of the team next year, and make him a big part of the pitching rotation. If he struggles, you're going to send him back down, but he showed a lot during spring training, showed a lot of tools, and showed a lot to become a guy who can be a fixture in that Pirates rotation for a long, long time. So excited for him, excited for Pirates fans, because again, they've been clamoring for this. They've been really, really wanting it. They don't get a lot of what they want in baseball and in sports with being a Pittsburgh sports fan, but I'm glad they got this, and glad Jared Jones is making the roster, and I'm super excited to watch him, honestly. Again, his fastball is super electric, and he has great, great stuff. So overall, exciting to watch and exciting to see what happens here. Jesse Chavez was released by the White Sox over the weekend, and would you know it, signed with the Atlanta Braves. This is just an incredible story that people talk about for good reason. I mean, this guy just keeps going from the Braves to another team, to the Braves to another team. Like, it's just insane what Alex Anthopoulos and the Braves' love affair is with this guy. It's just such an incredible story, and so interesting, honestly, about Jesse Chavez. Going over Jesse Chavez's career with the Braves and his history with the Braves. He first pitched with them in 2010. Then he went back to them in 2021. Then signed with the Cubs, who traded him to the Angels. The Angels then released him. And then he re-signed with Atlanta, getting released. So he went back there. He then signed with Atlanta last year as a starter, signed with the White Sox this year, got released, and then re-signed with Atlanta. So the Braves love him, I'd say. I think it's pretty clear. Also, he has not had good careers with really anyone else but Atlanta. He's had pretty high ERAs with every team he's played for in the past years, the Cubs and the Angels. But with Atlanta, he has always a really good ERA. It's just incredible, their love affair with him, and the fact that he's always so good with them. I don't think it's that they have some kind of crazy magic like a lot of people think. I just think they know how to use him. I think that's the reason they love him. They know how to use him well. They know his roles. They know what he's good at. They know what he's not good at. They know his pitches. They know his strengths and weaknesses, like I said. So I think it's just another showing of how smart the Braves organization is, how good they are, and it's just so funny, this Jesse Chavez situation with the Braves. I'm sure he'll get traded at the deadline. Some team will DFA him after like 5 appearances, and he'll re-sign with the Braves. I'm sure that will happen at the trade deadline. So, yeah. It was reported that he had a major league deal with the Twins, but obviously that was false, and it came out. And the Braves announced that he re-signed with them for the MILB roster and the spring training camp. So it'll be fun to see if he makes the opening day roster. I'm sure he will, because the Braves just love this guy. So just such an interesting thing, in my opinion, and just something that's really funny. Some Yankees news here. The Yankees have placed DJ LeMahieu on the IL. We talked about this, I think, last episode or the episode before that, just last week sometime, that he was likely going on the IL with an injury. Not a huge deal, as I think they have a lot of infield depth, especially for third base, which LeMahieu would probably play. They have some young players who could potentially fill in there, like Oswaldo Peraza. Now, apparently they don't really trust him, and he kind of lost his way within the Yankees organization. So he could potentially not be their starter, but I think for now he will be. It could go to Oswaldo Cabrera. They could sign someone. I know some Yankees writer floated the idea of trading for Gio Urshela after he signed with the Tigers because he's not guaranteed the third base opening day job, and he would be right now with the Yankees, would play for them at third base, and then if he's good, I'm sure would stay there or would move to the bench and be a big part of the Yankees team again. So it's going to be interesting to see how they fill this role, but I would assume it'd be Peraza or Cabrera, one of the younger guys. But it could also be one of the bench guys that comes up and plays a big role with them. So overall, it's going to be interesting to see how they fill this role, but I don't think it's a huge deal for LeMahieu to be out, and I don't think it's going to be a huge effect on them. Lewis Heel, he was named the Yankees 5-starter by Aaron Boone and Brian Cashman. A really nice story here. This guy has battled injuries for the past few years, but came up this year in spring training, diced people up, was electric, was throwing a great fastball, has some great off speeds to counter with it, so has just done really, really well and has been a really good pitcher for the Yankees, and I'm glad they named him the 5-starter. I think he's definitely earned it, and I think he is a guy that Yankees fans can look towards in the future of that rotation, see him being there. I think this kind of is, though, a last-ditch effort for him. Like I said before, I think he is going to be part of the rotation for a long time, but I think this is his year to prove it. If he's not good this year and he gets injured again, I think they could move on from him. But he has such electric stuff. He's such an electric player. I think he can kind of fill in that Luis Severino role of being a guy who shows a lot of emotion, has electric stuff, and I think Heel is going to be a great pitcher for the Yankees and a guy I'm super excited to watch going forward and seeing what can happen with him. Jordan Montgomery apparently has 2 long-term offers on the table. This is from MLB reporter Jim Bowen. Jim Bowen is not the most reliable, I'll say. Used to be a general manager, but he's not the most reliable, not a guy I'd count on with amazing sources. So I'd probably take this with a grain of salt. But again, if it is true, good for Montgomery. I'm sure he'd rather take a long-term deal than a short-term deal, but I'm not sure where his head's at right now. I really couldn't tell you. I think he gets a long-term deal, and I talked about it last episode on Friday, but I think he gets it from the Red Sox. So I think the Red Sox could be a team to watch for Montgomery. He also floated the idea of the Diamondbacks and Orioles, which would be interesting because both teams haven't really been mentioned with Monty. Diamondbacks could make sense, of course, as they just lost their big-time starter, Eduardo Rodriguez, who is going to be out for a little while with a lat strain, could fill in that number 3 role, and when he comes back, you could have one of the better rotations in baseball in Gallen, Merrill Kelly, Eduardo Rodriguez, Jordan Montgomery, Brandon Pfaadt. That would be an incredible rotation, so it would be interesting to see if Montgomery does sign there. I don't think he will, but it was an interesting thing floated there. The Orioles were also floated by him, kind of in the same boat as the Diamondbacks, are having a pitching injury. Kyle Bradish is hurt, who's their clear number 2. After Corbin Burns, of course, who is the ace. So Monty could provide a lot more stability to that rotation. He's very familiar with the AL East, of course, pitching with the Yankees, and I think would be a nice signing for the Orioles. Overall, I still think he goes to the Red Sox, but it was interesting to hear he has 2 long-term offers on the table, apparently. Again, take him with a grain of salt because it is Jim Bowden. He's not the most reliable guy, but he at least knows what he's talking about a little bit, so I'm not going to fully dog on the guy and fully say that he has no idea what he's talking about. So there's that. After that, we have the Twins. They placed Justin Topa on the 15-day IL. Not great if I'm a Twins fan. They've already had a lot of pitching injuries, especially bullpen injuries. You've had Johan Duran placed on the injured list, Caleb Diobar placed on the injured list, and just Topa's just another guy who's adding to that. I think the Twins' bullpen is one of their strong suits. I think with Johan Duran, with Caleb Diobar, with Topa, I think they have a lot of good bullpen arms, and them losing 3 guys who are valuable parts of that bullpen is not a good start to the season. Rocco Baldelli and the general manager over there did mention that they could be looking for some guys who get cut from camp and could be additions there. I think that would be a wise move by them. I do think they need some bullpen help right now just to bridge the gap until these guys do come back. I think Diobar is a great setup man and a guy who pitches really well against lefties. I think Topa is a really, really good reliever as well, a guy who broke out last year in Seattle and is going to be a very, very good pitcher. So, again, not great news for the Twins, but I don't think it's so horrible that it's affecting my choice of having them first in the AL Central. So we'll watch how this goes, and we'll see what happens there. The Phillies, they traded Jake Cave to the Rockies over the weekend. We had 2 separate segments on the Phillies and the Rockies, so that's kind of nice. Cave didn't really have a spot with the Phillies. he didn't win the fourth outfield spot role. That went to Christian Pache. So I think they wanted to trade him, give him a better opportunity, and the Rockies probably provide that. He could probably start there because they don't have that many players. Because as I said, they're not that good. This is more of a positive Rockies episode because I had a full segment on them and how they're improving with the organization and their farm system. But still, I don't want to dog them too much. But still, I think that is true. So I think Cave is a nice addition for the Rockies. A good veteran guy in the clubhouse to have. A guy who provides some versatility in the outfield. Could play first base. Is a solid hitter. Could be a good trade deadline shift for some team who wants a fourth outfielder or a guy who can fill in a backup first base role or a backup DH role. So we'll be interested to watch and see how Cave performs with the Colorado Rockies and what is going to happen there. The Blue Jays, they have selected Daniel Vogelbach, and he will be on their opening day roster. Always love this. Vogelbach's one of the nicest guys in baseball, one of the coolest guys in baseball. Of course, a legend with his appearance. So I think this is a great move by the Blue Jays, and with him being, aside from being kind of a meme player, quote-unquote, he does provide a valuable asset. I think he walks a lot. He hits well. He's a good bench bat, in my opinion, a guy to bring up in a pinch or a guy who can start from day to day. I don't think he should be your starting DH every day like the Mets had it, but I still think he is a valuable guy to a team, and I think he does provide some valuable stuff to the Blue Jays. So overall, I do like this. The Nationals had some veterans make their opening day roster, having Matt Barnes, Jesse Winker, and Eddie Rosario make it. All these guys are kind of washed-up veterans, guys who are kind of looking for one final chance, and I think the Nationals provide them with that. Low-risk environment, and they'll be making some money, so if they do flame out a little bit, it's not the biggest deal. So I think Winker and Rosario have a good chance to bounce back. I'm not really sure about Barnes. He's been bad for a few years now, but I think Winker and Rosario are nice signings by the Nationals, and I think, again, were good buy low moves. And if they are potentially good, you could extend them and make them a part of your young core that is coming up, or you could trade them at the deadline and get some good prospects. So it'll be interesting to watch how these guys perform with the Nationals going forward and what is going to happen with them. Finally, Miguel Andujar, a guy I talked about as a spring training breakout player, has a torn meniscus and will miss 4 to 6 weeks. In my opinion, this is a big blow for the A's, definitely. This is a guy I watched spring training, watched him perform really, really well, thought maybe he could find a home in Oakland and find somewhere to finally live up to his large potential that he had with the Yankees when he was a top runner for Rookie of the Year for those years with Ohtani. So it's definitely a negative for the A's here, and not something I'd want if I was an A's fan, but I think we'll be back relatively soon, around probably a month or two, and I'm really interested, honestly, to see if he can perform like he did in spring training and kind of get his career back on track. So I think he had a lot of potential coming up, and it would be really fun to see him fulfill that potential with Oakland. So that is my show for today. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, you can follow us anywhere you can get content and updates: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all those places. So make sure you can get content and updates there. Tomorrow will be a special episode. I'll be having an interview with Eric from the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast. He does really great work over there. So if you are a WWE or wrestling fan, make sure to watch out his show, 8 p.m. Western and 11 Eastern, and I guess 10 Central. So yeah, I think he does a great job over there, and I'm really excited to talk some baseball with him. It'll be a really fun episode, and I'm really excited to talk about that with him, and really excited to do that tomorrow. So make sure to check in there. So thank you again so much for watching. I'll see you tomorrow, and we'll see what baseball throws at us. So bye, guys. See you later.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet. Damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go